Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So many of you have probably noticed that I've been gone for the last 2 weeks, and I have a good reason for that. So if you guys want to hear about that, keep on watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the blessing of the week. So my blessing of the week has to be the fact that I joined a new church with my mom. Now, it's not a traditional church that you think of when you think of a Catholic church with the robes and the altar boys and the music that kind of puts you to sleep. It's definitely not one of those churches, but it still has tradition behind it. But there's live music, a great band, awesome singers, stage effects, all of that stuff. It's huge, it's well funded, there are so many programs to be a part of, so many events that they hold. The community is so diverse as well. I mean, people from all demographics, all backgrounds, ages. It's just such a supportive community. And when I first went there with her this past Sunday, I was kind of hesitant at first. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I didn't really agree with what the preacher was saying in the beginning. But at one point he said, if you're new here and you want to be a part of this church, don't stay in the shadows, make yourself known. And 1 and 2 and 3 people started walking up to the front, and eventually I looked at my mom and I'm like, let's go. So we walked up to the front, and the preacher was talking to everybody face to face, and the whole audience was behind us. So it was very nerve-wracking. I'm naturally a shy person, so it took a lot for me to get up there and do that. As soon as the preacher looked at my mom and I, who were standing next to each other, he grabbed our hands, and he grabbed mine first, and he looked at me, and I felt this overwhelming sense of warmth, acceptance, love. Mind you, I don't know this preacher. I've never met him before. And my ego in the back of my head was telling me to not like this preacher before I got a chance to meet him and shake his hand. But as soon as I set that ego aside and went up there, shook his hand, looked at him straight in the eyes, he smiled at me, I smiled back, I just felt like I belong here. I belong here. It didn't feel sinister, it didn't feel like he was trying to manipulate me in any way, and I'm very good at sensing that now through past experiences that I've went through, especially with older men. But this guy was just cool. He was like a Western guy. He had cowboy boots on, the starched jeans. I think he had a Harley Davidson flannel on, and he had his hair combed back and everything. Just a really cool Western kind of guy. And I mean, even the music there, it's very country, Western, but still respectable. And after that moment, I looked at my mom and I'm like, we should stay here for the new member sign up. So get this, every quarter, meaning every 3 months, they do a new member sign up after Mass. And we just so happened to be there on the new member sign up day. And I looked at my mom again, I'm like, let's stay behind and sign up. So we did, and it was a great networking experience. We got to meet all of the clergy members. I also got to meet a couple new friends, and I met this young lady, and we just started talking, and for whatever reason, I talked to her about my living situation with my neighbor and the fact that it brought me closer to my mom, and she's like, well, let me tell you about my living situation. And she is going through something absolutely horrific. I can't even say it on here. But we were able to relate to each other in that. And I think there was a reason that I felt the need to introduce myself to her and just sit down with her and eat our meal after church that they provided and just share that conversation with her. We even exchanged numbers, and she invited my mom and I over for dinner one time. So I just thought that was so wonderful. And you guys, I finally got this sense of like belonging and community, something I've been searching for ever since I moved to Arizona. I wanted to share that with you guys because it was such a blessing, and that was honestly the best day that I have had in years. And just spending that time with my mom and helping her out with her house, I've been feeling better than I ever have. And I think this is something I've needed to do for a while. I've just been ignoring the signs and continuing to lead with my ego. So let me share my tribulation of the week. And this was kind of difficult because I have had an awesome last 2 weeks. I mean, I really had to search deep and far to try to find something negative that happened in the last 2 weeks. At this point, I'm even grateful that I've had to go through the neighbor situation and the lack of help from my property manager, because it's led me back to my mom, and we just have such a perfect dynamic. I mean, my mom and I have always been so close, so close. I think the tribulation of the week has definitely been finding new work, because I have been scared of the future, because up until this point, I knew what I was doing to pay my bills, and at this point, I'm brainstorming new ways to get those bills paid, and it's scary, it's difficult, but I have faith in the Almighty that I will survive. I know that I need to do this, and I know this needs to happen, and I've known this for a while, but the scariest part is actually doing the groundwork and starting to make changes. I've truly been aligning myself with the man I want to be, like the man I see myself being in my head. And I've been learning so much about myself by doing that, and by setting my ego aside and leading with my heart. So you guys should try that. I mean, seriously, try it. Try to start doing the things that you want to do, but you're scared of judgment, or you're scared. For example, in high school, I wanted to join the soccer team. I wanted to join the football team, but my ego wouldn't let me. I was so scared of the potential of being bullied or outcasted or something happening in the shower. I mean, whatever. I was scared of all of the what ifs, and I should have just set that aside and said, you know what? If this is what I want to do, I'm going to experience it. And if I don't like it, at least I tried it. But I wasn't strong enough back then. Now I am. All right, well, let's go ahead and move forward to the news. This is a bit of a heavy one, so viewer discretion is advised. Adult star Kagney Linn Carter has died by self-inflicted injuries at the age of 36. So I'll be 26 in May, so 10 years older than me. This stood out to me, and yes, it's a female, and I know many of you guys probably don't watch that kind of content, but I saw this all over X, and I just couldn't help but look into it further. As I was looking into this and researching it further, I was looking at a lot of the comments that were left under the various articles that were being posted on X, and there were so many comments. Basically, all of the comments under the articles were heartless and just left by cold-hearted people. You could tell these people are empty. Because personally, I've never thought about leaving a negative comment anywhere. I think that takes so much gall and so much energy to put into something negative in hopes of hurting someone else's feelings. And I'm not sure if these people left comments because they felt like, oh, well, she's gone now, so she'll never see it. I just think those are the worst kinds of people in the world, and they've always been around. It just sucks to see some of these comments by people. It makes me weep for humanity. There was little to no sympathy from the general public, is what I'm saying. Not one comment was, bless her heart, rest in peace. Like I said, it was all just mocking her, or she deserved it, or it was coming to her, or just making jokes, all of that. It was horrible, horrible. And I couldn't help but think of myself. And if her and I were to switch shoes, and if that was me, what the comments would look like underneath my article. Now, from the article, you can probably see that she took her life in a very catastrophic way. And I think to do something like that takes a lot of pain. It takes a lot of built up depression, as well as trauma from her childhood that she probably has not addressed. And that's something that I could relate to heavily. This article and the comments underneath of the article is just a testament as to how adult stars are treated in society and how they've always been treated in society. For hundreds of years, thousands of years, adult stars have always been looked at as less than the rest of society and gross and immoral, and people just don't have respect for them. I knew that before I joined the industry, and I think a lot of people know that, but they set that aside and they kind of have the money in their minds of, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do with the money, and these are my dreams, and I got to make them happen some way. Don't listen to that voice, you guys. Don't listen to that temptation, because it will lead to outcomes like this. Unless you make a change and break the chains from that industry that you've built up for so long. I mean, she was in the industry for over a decade, maybe longer. And there's no way, I don't care what you guys say, I don't care, that sounded rude. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, I could start naming male adult stars that I know of that are prominent, very well known. None of those people are happy. None of them. They might be fit, they might look happy and shiny on camera and on their pictures and on their social media. They're not happy. They're not happy. And I think social media has contributed to so much false representation of people in general. I mean, this is so heavy to talk about, but I wanted to use this to bring awareness to you guys and others out there who might be thinking about caving into that temptation that they know is wrong or joining this industry, the adult industry. Think twice, guys. Think twice, because this is more common than you think it is. In a way, this could have been me. Now, you guys remember what I was talking about, feeling depressed and just kind of surviving for a while until the almighty above, the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, put these situations into my life to break up my monotony, my routine, and to kind of lead me back to my mom and sort of ground me and put my life into perspective before anything like this happens. And I'm not saying that I am more valuable than her or anyone else on this planet, but I am so grateful that I have this newfound understanding of my purpose and why I've gone through all of the things that I've gone through at such a young age. Two of her friends said in a statement, quote, "Unfortunately, despite all of her many impressive accomplishments and talents, Kagney struggled with mental health issues as the years passed by." Now, coming from an adult star, like I said earlier, you guys, it's nearly impossible to work in the adult industry without suffering some form of depression or sadness. I'm not just saying this and pulling this out of thin air. These are thoughts that I actually wrote down in my notes and thoughts that I've felt, as well as other stars out there that might not have the courage to open up about something like this because they're scared of losing their following or losing money because they're living with that ego rather than their heart. Many, like myself, join the industry because of traumatic childhood events that have not been addressed. Now, I would like to say that my traumatic childhood events have been addressed and have been thought through and understood. But so many people, adults, teenagers, senior citizens, still struggle with traumatic events that they never addressed. And they choose to indulge in addictions, alcoholism, drug use, other addictions, things to kind of satiate those feelings rather than opening up to someone about them, talking through them, working through them so that they can better understand themselves and why they've been addicted to a certain substance or why they've been in a certain industry that has no good outcomes and is just horrible for your soul. You feel it when you're in there, you guys. I mean, in the beginning, it's fun. It's something new and different. But as time goes by, if you have the ability to stay in the industry and work it like a career, you start to feel this sense of emptiness and shame. I don't care what anyone says. It's just there. No, it's hard to be proud of. It's hard to be proud of adult entertainment, even if you put your all into it and you work hard on your body at the gym and you win awards. It just doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of life. You're not helping anyone. You're not bettering the world. It could actually be considered, in my opinion, as contributing to the downfall of our society and contributing to temptation and everything that isn't good. So I know this probably is a lot for you guys to take in from me based off of my history and what you guys know me for, but if you choose to unsubscribe, I understand. But moving forward, I want to create a supportive community of people that view me as more than just an object. She, like all of us, Kagney, Linn Carter, was not a saint, but she deserved a better outcome and a better life. And I hope you guys feel the same way. People don't just join the adult industry because they like hooking up. It stems from pain, deep pain from childhood. That's why you don't see more people joining the adult industry, because some people didn't have that kind of pain when they were a child that influenced their life decisions up to a certain point. So just try to have a little bit more sympathy, you guys. Now let's go ahead and move on to a lighter subject, which is the movie of the week. Now this movie is a movie I watched years ago, but it's always stuck out to me and it's kind of stayed in my mind because it was so realistic. And you guys know from my past episodes, I despise these gay movies that are just so Hollywood and so make-believe and would never happen in real life. But this movie, which is called Shelter, is nothing like those movies. Now, Shelter came out in 2007, and it's starring Trevor Wright and Brad Rowe, the two main characters. And the premise of the movie is when Zach, the main character, is forced to give up his dreams of art school, and he spends his days working a dead-end job and helping his sister care for her son. He likes to surf and hang out with his best friend. And one day, his best friend's older brother returns home and is drawn to Zach because Zach is represented as a selfless, caring, a little bit depressed, unhappy with life, but still the type of guy that will help you move, the type of guy that will pick you up if your car breaks down. We all need a friend like that, and I think that's why this character, Sean, was drawn to Zach. Zach falls in love with Sean while struggling to balance the needs of his sister and nephew. I really enjoyed this movie because, like I said, it was realistic. It's not all sunshine and butterflies. It shows real emotions, things that could actually happen and do happen in these dynamics. So if you guys haven't seen Shelter, it came out in 2007. Definitely go check it out. I'm not sure where you can find it, but I think Amazon is probably your best bet. Years ago, I watched it on Hulu, I believe, but it's not on Hulu anymore. So check out Shelter. It's a great movie. You won't regret it. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for being patient with me over the course of these last 2 weeks. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and I understand if after watching this video, you're probably not wanting to continue following me on my journey, but for those of you that are, thank you. Thank you. I do this for you guys. And you can count on me to continue posting every Friday these episodes of Waking Up with Richie. I got to get used to calling it the Waking Up with Richie podcast, but I'll catch on eventually. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below in the comments. Also, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new here and you want to continue following me on my journey of life. Other than that, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.